Good. Okay. Okay, guys, we're back today. Were y'all able to use the hyper keys a little bit over yesterday? Yeah?
Yes.
Like it? Understand it? Guys, it takes some getting used to. It really does. So don't get frustrated with it. You know, it's like anything else when you first started. It's different. Don't make it difficult. It's just different. Okay? And once you get used to it, I mean, it's really going to help you. Okay? So don't see it as, you know, frustration. You know, just embrace it. It'll be okay. And if something messes up, you know, with your computer or something, you know, whatever, with the lesson, go back into help, install lesson, pick the lesson, okay. It's going to bring you back out here, go back to help, lesson player, pick the lesson that you just reinstalled, and it should be there. Okay? So don't freak out if you do something wrong in the lessons. Okay? Like I told you, do not go into the programs. Okay? Do not go into install lesson and then go into the programs there and start messing with stuff. Okay? Don't do that, because then you're really going to mess it up. Okay? But, you know, with the lessons themselves, mess with them as much as you want. You're not going to mess anything up. All you got to do is reinstall it and you're good to go. Okay? Do you have any questions about what some of this stuff does? Guys, up is what?
I.
Right?
L.
Left?
J.
Up?
I.
Hey, that's what you get. You're going to teach a class, huh?
Tricky.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Cerati, yesterday how we were messing with it and you know, guiding us on where to go and edit and do all that good stuff. So when we just exit out of there, it just cleared it, whatever changes we made in there, or were we supposed to do something beforehand? You know how it was then, you can tell it's like the oops and we went back and
Yeah.
it will correct it or the Z and stuff. So it's back to its normal self?
It should. But if it doesn't, and you go through and read it again and it doesn't make sense, reinstall the lesson. Just reinstall it. Okay? So you're not going to mess anything up. Like I was telling y'all to do stuff, it doesn't matter. You know, I was saying, you know, just get somewhere in there or whatever. And I'm right here on typing and you're down here on off. And, you know, you're messing with it or whatever. I'm already through it and you didn't go back and do the oops. No big deal. It's like, man, it doesn't even make sense. You know, all this stuff, just reinstall the lesson. Okay? Any questions about anything else? No? Guys, we covered a lot of information that night, and it's important stuff. And that's why the lesson before, I waited till yesterday to wait and do that one lesson by itself. You know, we spent a lot of time on it. I mean, it was over 2 hours that we spent just on that one, but that's how important it is. You know, and there's certain lessons that we're going to do. Number conversions is the same way. Okay, so we're going to spend time, and then other stuff we're just going to go through it. So, okay, so we already know about typing and stuff like that. You know, when you're in hyperkeys, it's what? To get out of hyperkeys and type something. N. Very good. So it's just N for new text. Okay? Remember I told you they're going to put the letter with what you're trying to do? I don't know that it's new. Yeah, I mean it's new, but whatever. So you're typing in new text. So I mean that's good, whatever. Okay, another thing that this program has is when you're inserting stuff, and they're going to show the video on it, I'm going to kind of explain it first. Once you press hyperkeys in to type new text, your computer keyboard's behavior will depend on whether it's in the INS or the OVR, which is overtype, okay? Pay attention. This is important, okay? Because you're gonna end up texting me one day and it's gonna happen. You're gonna say, sir, it's not doing what, blah, 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 because you were eating Doritos or whatever during the class. And, no, I mean, you know.
Really?
But I did it too. You know, when I first got the software and started using it, I freaked out too. I had to call support, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. It's really simple to fix it, okay? And it's gonna tell you right here, what it's doing, okay? So we're gonna watch it. And then I'll come back and expand it a little bit more.
Let's see how insert mode and overtype mode affects typing in text. Here insert mode is on, and the indicators are that the toolbar Let's see how insert mode and overtype mode affects typing in text. Here insert mode is on, and the indicators are that the toolbar icon looks pushed in, and there's also an INS visible on the status bar at the bottom of the screen. When I begin typing, the new letters get inserted in front of the old ones. When I press the Enter key, that chops off the rest of the word that I was replacing. Here, overtype mode is on, which you can tell because there's an OVR visible on the status line at the bottom of the screen, and because the toolbar icon does not look pushed in. When I start typing to replace this word, each letter overtypes the one that's there, and then the new letters push on as necessary.
You see what it did right there? So the function that I was telling you guys about, you know, when you come to a certain word and you want to change that word every time that it has this certain word, you know, where you start typing it, you know, and then you push enter, takes you back into hyperkeys, enter again, deletes that word. This doesn't do it. This starts typing over the word. It doesn't go into the next word. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It just goes into that one word, okay?
Let's see how on the status line at the bottom of the screen, and because the toolbar icon does not look pushed in. When I start typing to replace this word, each letter overtypes the one that's there, and then the new letters push on as necessary.
So all it does is just pushes the next word, but it's going to type over that complete word, okay? So if it starts doing that, then you know that you're in overtype, okay? Now you have a button on, which should be your 0 on your numbers on the right-hand side. So the little numbers on your right-hand side of your computer. You see the 0? It has the INS. That's how you control that function. Okay, so when you want to turn it on and you want to turn it off, that's how you do it. You see how it's in insert mode right here? I pressed INS and now it's in OVR. Did y'all see that? Did you see? It's that simple. It's that simple, but something that simple can make it a little more difficult for you if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? And it's real easy just to control it.
So if you don't have the number keys on your laptop, the insert button is next to the Wi-Fi button, the F12.
I just have an insert.
You see it?
Okay, what is
That's
that?
the insert button.
Oh, I see it. I
Yeah.
have it. I got it.
Yes. There is another one up there.
'Cause I was looking
So
like-
it may be function with that one too, is it?
I just pushed it in, well,
You just pushed it?
yeah, I don't
Okay.
have my function is not.
So if it doesn't work, then use the function button with it. I don't know how it's going to work up there. I have it on my number keypad to the right. So if you don't have it, it's on the top after F12. Oh, it is? Yeah, after, right next to F12. And it should have a little INS. So push it, and if it doesn't correct this from OVR or INS, then try the FN button. Okay?
You hit the FN with the insert?
If it don't work.
If it doesn't work. Does yours?
It just turned mine off.
Oh,
Okay, now it's waking up, yeah.
I'm just adding zero.
It did work. See?
Huh?
Insert. Oh.
If it's not working, my lovely assistant will come around and help you.
Nice.
Do what?
I was like, nice.
Hers don't work.
Assistant, you're fired. You need a new assistant, sir, not you.
And it may be because you're in the lesson itself.
Oh. See?
But with OBR
Does she have an insert button at the top, sir? No?
Well, you know, I did that thing yesterday when we left. I just closed it out, like you did that install.
Do that FN. Hold it down.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I hit the wrong button. Okay, go. Ready?
Yeah, that's it. So it's the FN and that little button right there.
Ah, the print screen.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, okay.
yeah, the PRT.
Yeah,
Is
print
that what it
screen.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do it again. Take it out of. See how it went out? Okay. So we did have one student that it worked that way. So you have to press the function button, the little FN button, which should be down at your bottom left-hand side of your keyboard. Okay? And, you know, the button's up here, right after 12, it should have a little INS. She did have the number board over here and the 0 INS, but when you push the INS, it was starting to press 0. Okay? And I think that has something to do with that function button. So if you can learn how to turn that function button off, I think it's going to work, because mine used to do that too. And now I can use the numbers on the right-hand
Oh,
side.
I need to do that. Okay. Let me make a little note.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that about 16 classes ago. But if you want to Google it, just when you get a chance. I'm just kidding.
I was too busy learning.
Oh, what a lip.
Remember,
All
I
right.
was giving you your right answers.
Yes. Okay, and they kind of want, now it's your turn. So remember in the beginning of the lesson I was saying, it's read first, watch lessons, then your turn. Now it's your turn, and that's what this is. So when it has this little light, your turn, so that's what they want you to do right here. So if you scroll down to your turn, that's what they want you to do right here. Okay, and it's just a little lesson of the stuff that we covered of being in hyperkeys. And it says, insert the word new before each instance of program in the following paragraph. Okay? So every time they have every time they have program, put it in. Don't space. Enter, get you back into hyperkeys, enter, chops the word. So next time you go to the next program, it's automatically going to bring up new. Remember? So I'm going to do it right here. So for those of you that are, so we're in hyperkeys because we have the fat cursor, remember? We're in hyperkeys. We want to insert, which is what? In. Type new. Enter again. Put you back into hyperkeys. Enter again.
Takes the word.
Deletes the word. Okay? And now it's saying replace program with system. Okay? So I think it's further down. And I think what I did is I didn't reinstall my lesson, so I think the program should have been here. This might have been an old lesson. I think it was already there. So what I'm going to do is the opposite, okay? So where it says system, I'm going to insert, which is what? In, type program. Enter gets me back into hyperkeys. Enter deletes it. So now next time that I come to system, right here, because I need to change all of the systems to programs, okay? I type in, I want to insert, so it's what? In. And you see how it automatically puts program right there? So now all I have to do is push enter, enter again, and now it just chopped it.
Oh, mine was putting new right there.
And you were supposed to. I think mine, I didn't reinstall my lesson. But all I'm doing is just telling you what to do if you want to do that instance. So let's just say you go and take a deposition and it was a Mr. New and it should have been Mr. Program. I don't know, whatever. I'm just trying to make an example. So you need to change it every time. There's an easier way to do it. They're just kind of telling you that there's this way of doing it. Okay? You can find and replace and just make it easy. Remember that one? Which is?
F.
F in hyperkeys for find and replace. Very good. Someone was listening. It's weird. All right.
Aw.
And not eating Doritos. Okay, now we're going to go to type over tracking.
Let's see what's meant by type over tracking. If I place my cursor on a word and press hyperkey in to type in new text, then after typing, press the enter key a couple of times to chop off the
Who was moving?
type over. Total Eclipse remembers the replacement. User settings, programming, type over tracking. This line was added automatically. Let's see what it means. If I place my cursor on this same word somewhere else in my transcript, Eclipse will offer to automatically replace it for me and save me some typing. Let's see it in action.
You see what it was telling you right there? So you can go into your user settings and find it even. So if you go in there and let's just say you did new, okay? And you kept just hitting enter. So now every time you go to new, it's like, I just want to type in some new text right there. I don't want to type over new or whatever. Program keeps coming up. It's like, God, that's annoying. It's not that big of a deal, guys. It really isn't. All you have to do is just start typing and it kind of types over. But if it annoys you enough that you want to take that program out, did you move? Touch those buttons. Were you reaching for Doritos? Yeah.
No, there's no more.
All three of them? Just, yeah, hit all three of them. All right. All right. Okay, you can go into your user settings and delete that. Okay? And that's what they just showed you. Now I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
I was going to say, can you do it again?
Yeah.
Place my cursor on this same word somewhere else in my transcript times to chop off the type over. Total Eclipse remembers the replacement. User settings, programming, type.
How do you get to user settings? User setting U with
You.
Alt U. So do it. Type Alt U. You should be in here. Is that right? Go to programming. Got it? Find type over tracking. Do you have any examples in there? Huh?
I pressed OK and it went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a cursor.
Okay. Well, and it may be because you're in the lesson that it really doesn't have any. Okay? But if you start using this and start doing it, now you're going to have it in your main. Okay? So you're going to have it in there. So that's really where you want to change it. It's probably not tracking it because it's in the lesson itself. Okay?
I have a lot of weird ones.
Did yours highlight the, did you?
No,
No, they went to the end of the.
Did yours highlight anything?
What?
Huh? Mine highlighted the.
What math did too?
Yes, it does? Oh, I'm not doing about it. I just went to the, sentence.
I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
But that's what it's telling you right there. And it's gonna show you here in just a bit that whatever equals whatever, that's what it's doing. That's what you changed. Okay?
Mr. Durrani, on mine it highlighted the word does in blue. In blue.
What did you do?
Math did it too, but I
Yeah,
think
click
it's,
on type over. And she
Escape,
got
my
the
bad.
same thing.
but math was blue before I did typo.
Just put your cursor over here.
Escape.
Yeah. Type in. I think you're gonna answer it. Last escape, highlight. It might be your computer doing something crazy. So you may just need to escape from it and get back in it. I mean, completely get out of it.
Oh, exit.
Yeah. And then get back in there. Okay. Guys, if your computer starts doing something a little weird, sometimes it will. I mean, just get out of it. Get out of it, get back in it, you know, whatever. And for some reason, on the students thing, it highlighted a word in blue. I don't know what it was doing. She was still able to do other functions, but it highlighted it in blue, so whatever. All right?
Type over tracking. This line
You see how it does it? What was your name again? Katie. So Katie had somewhere it was like 073 equals 5. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. You know, I don't even know why it's in there. You know, I mean, unless you've done some stuff that you
What
were
kind of
messing with it or
stuff?
whatever. I mean, but we hadn't even really done numbers yet, so I don't even know why it would be in there. Not that big of a deal. If it starts messing with your stuff, then you need to know. But it's type over tracking, so the only time it's going to do it is if you come to 073 and you press insert to type something there, then it's going to say 5. That's the only time it's going to do it. But you can take them out of there too, okay?
was added automatically. Let's see what it means. If I place my cursor on this same word somewhere else in my transcript, Eclipse will offer to automatically replace it for me and save me some typing. Let's see it in action. I'll place my cursor here and press hyperkey N. There's the type over suggestion. It may look a bit distracting, but it could certainly save me some typing. To accept the suggestion, just press the Enter key. Otherwise, start typing. There's no need to press extra keys like Escape or Backspace just to get rid of the type over suggestion.
You see what it's telling you there? So even if it does pop up, don't freak out. All it's doing is just highlighting and saying, last time you were at shorts, this is what you put in, authorities. Well, I don't want to do that this time. No big deal, just start typing. You don't have to press escape. You don't have to do any of that stuff, because now it's going to do, it may do something totally different now. But it's just giving you a suggestion of what it thinks you might want to do because you did it the last time. Okay?
It's a shorts list.
Huh?
No, I'm reading the sentence.
It's a shorts list. That.
Also, keep in mind that if you type in a new word and press the space bar, that's not considered a type over that needs to be tracked.
You understand what it was saying right there? So if you type in a new word and press a space bar, all it's going to do is space. So like I told you guys, if you put a space there, then it's just, all it's doing is typing in stuff. It's not remembering anything. So the next time you go to shorts, if you haven't done it before, if you've never done it and changed it to authorities, it's the first time you're doing it and press the space bar, it doesn't remember anything because you press the space bar. So it puts a space in there. The only time it does it is if you type it, keep it together, enter, puts it back in hyper keys, enter again, deletes it. Now it remembered it because you kept it together. Got it?
One final note. Type over tracking is a typing feature. It's not a global replacement or a dictionary entry.
You understand what it was telling you right there? You're not replacing anything. It's not remembering, it's remembering what you did, but if you want to global it because it's a dictionary entry that you want, this is totally different. Totally different function, okay? All this is doing is remembering what you typed, okay? Now if that's your, I don't even think it shows it. The steno for what you did, you know, and it's like, it's not shorts, it's authorities. But you did type over tracking, you didn't do anything. So the next time shorts comes up, or that way that you typed it for authorities, it's gonna come up shorts because that's the way that it is in your dictionary now. So if you wanna change it to authorities because that's your brief or your stroke for authorities, then you need to global it and put it in your dictionary. Which global is what? G in hyperkeys. So it's gonna global the stroke, ask you what you wanna do with it, ask you if you wanna put it in your main or a job dictionary, trash dictionary, you know, whatever. But if it's a good stroke, you know that it's good, you use it all the time, this is what I use for this word, then you always wanna put it in your main, okay? Proper names, you wanna be careful with, okay? So like I told you about, you know, proper names. I mean, if you're gonna use Mr. Chef for Mr. Shashevsky, and then tomorrow you have, and you put it in your main dictionary, and then tomorrow you take the deposition of Mr. Sheffield, and now you put Mr. Chef, now it's coming up Mr. Shashevsky, because you put it in your main dictionary, okay? So be careful with things that you're gonna use for other things too. Does that make sense? Okay.
Normally, the system is constantly tracking your typeovers, but you can lock entries in your typeover tracking table, which is symbolized by an exclamation point. Here I've added these two lines because my steno for doesn't and accident is almost identical. I don't want to create a conflict entry in my dictionary, but I do want a fast way to insert the replacement text from time to time.
You see what it was telling you right there? So if you write accident and doesn't similar, which they are, I mean, I don't know what y'all's is. The only thing that differentiates mine is SE. So my accident is SDENT, and didn't is DNT.
Didn't or doesn't?
I don't know. What was it? Doesn't?
Doesn't.
Was it doesn't?
Uh-huh.
Let's see what's meant by typeover tracking. Because my steno for doesn't and accident is almost identical.
Well, then that wouldn't be real good because my doesn't isn't close to that.
Right.
Mine is 2 strokes, so whatever. But I mean, if yours isn't and it's DENT or your dent and accident, really? I mean, I don't think that you're gonna type dent that much, but if it does and you want to change it or make it a conflict, not a conflict, but you want to do it a type over tracking, then you can lock it in permanently. Y'all saw how to do that, right? With the lock in permanent.
Tracking your typeover.
Right there. So all you have to do is just check that little box of lock permanently and it'll always, whenever it comes up, it's always going to come up. Doesn't come up, you go to insert, it's automatically going to come up, hit enter, it puts it in, you're done. Okay? So if you have 2 words that are similar, you can lock it in. Okay? I don't don't know if I will, I mean, you know, if you do something that's pretty close, yeah. But you can always create a conflict or other things like that too, which makes it easier too. Remember the conflicts, there, and there? All you do is press a number there. Got it?
Yeah.
So if it's there, and there, all you have to do is create the conflict, and it's either 1, 2, 3 on the there that you want, okay? But you can do it that way if you want, whatever. Any questions about type over tracking? Okay, mouse and key commands.
Let's see how you can use either the mouse or keyboard commands for just about any function within Total Eclipse. The left mouse button is typically used to click or select, while the right mouse button opens a context menu. You may be clicking on a toolbar icon, or a menu column, or simply clicking to position your cursor. Let's see how you can use either. Open a context menu, which will vary according to where your cursor is placed. However, there's no need to constantly reach for the mouse. For instance, you can press F10 or just press the Alt key and release to access the menu bar, H for help. Every Eclipse menu or dialog has hotkeys as an alternative to using the mouse. But if there's any place where you can type in a dialog, then Windows requires you to press the Alt key in order to use the underlined letter as a hotkey. Hotkeys are underlined letters on menus or dialogs, but Eclipse also encourages you to use speed keys, which bypass the menus entirely. For instance, Alt-T to translate and Shift-Alt-T to stop translation. And finally, there are Eclipse hyperkeys, which are even more efficient than using a mouse or speed keys. But this is the subject of a separate presentation.
Nothing new that we haven't gone over. That's why I really didn't stop it. I mean, this is all stuff about the mouse and stuff like that that we've already gone over. So, do you have any questions about that? Toolbar configurations. We'll fly through this.
If you're a mouse lover, you'll appreciate the many icons that are built into Total Eclipse. So let's see how to arrange the toolbars to meet your needs. You can pull down the window menu to customize your toolbars. You can select large icons or small icons, but we'll show you how to do this in a separate visualizer. For now, let's open the dialog that lets you toggle on or off the various elements of your display. The speed key for this dialog is Shift-Control F3. Here you'll find checkboxes to turn on the various toolbars of your system, and there's also a fast way to turn off all the toolbars if you want to make a little extra space. The speed key for turn off all toolbars is Shift-Control F2. The View Toggles dialog is also where you control the appearance of the info bar. This is the display column at the left edge of the Eclipse screen. Here is where automagic choices appear most typically. So as you move your cursor from word to word, Eclipse offers you the most likely editing choices. You can, however, also display automagic choices in a small pop-up window. We'll show that in a separate visualizer. Also, the visualizer that is specifically about the info bar will show you how there you can see translation statistics in real time, as well as an audio indicator and auto-brief suggestions to make it easier to write.
Once again, kind of already gone over this. That's why I didn't stop it. So, any questions about that? That's the thing kind of about this software is it kind of gets a little redundant, but I mean they preach it to you, so I mean you'll get it. If you don't get it, give it about 10 minutes, they'll probably show it again. So, but it's kind of important stuff or whatever. But I think it's stuff that you guys already have. Okay, so here's that your turn thing. So you can kind of come here or whatever. So like I was telling you, it's there, there, and there. I read in the paper over there, which one is it?
It's the first one.
Number 1. If you press 1, that's what it does. Okay, so now it puts it in a different color because now it's a different function. It shows you that it was a different function, okay, of what you already did. All right? Okay, we already kind of did these. Y'all remember how to fill them in? How to enter in the
That's the
Name.
block file, right?
I mean, it's already a
So
block
that's
file.
find and insert, right?
It's a enter in the name of.
Oh, yeah.
It's an enter in the name of.
The witness.
The
Oh, the
witness?
Enter. What's the function?
E.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't see.
that's what you were
It
looking
only took
for.
56 enters. Not bad. Those are good. Those are good. All right. So do E. See how it goes to it? That's how you get inside of a field. Okay, and that's what it's called. A fill in the blank field. Okay? That's how you do it. How do you enter the name? E. Good. Now we're listening. I'll go. Okay, Windows Explorer tips.
What most Eclipse users don't realize is that many Windows Explorer functions are available whenever you see a listing of file names. So if I highlight this file's name, I can simply press the delete key to send this file to the recycle bin. I could also highlight a file's name and either right-click or press Shift F10 to open a context menu. You notice I can rename the file from here, delete it, copy it, cut it, perhaps paste it, and there's also the option to send to the desktop to create a shortcut, which will make it easy to reopen a file that.
Y'all see what they're doing there? So they're kind of going into where your files are, and by right-clicking that mouse, it gives you the options to do anything. You can copy that file, you can paste that file, you can send it to the desktop, you can send it somewhere else. I mean, you can do so many things with it. I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Shift F10 to open a context menu.
See, so you can do a lot of things. You can just open it, print it, send it to, and that gives you a whole another thing. You can send it to the desktop, you can send it to, if you have a thumb drive, you can do any of a number of things. Cut, copy, paste, delete, rename it, so whatever you want to do. Just by clicking on it and then right-clicking on it. So left-clicking on it, which tells it you want that file specifically, and then right-clicking on it, because if you double-click on it, now it's going to open the file. Y'all know that, right? So by clicking it, left-clicking it once, highlights it, which means you want to do something with it. What do you want to do with it? Right-click it, then it opens up this. Okay?
You notice I can rename the file from here, delete it, copy it, cut it, perhaps paste it, and there's also the option to send to the desktop to create a shortcut, which will make it easy to reopen a file that won't be transcribed in a single sitting.
Did y'all get that? So you can send it to your desktop,
Oh, cool.
and it makes it a little shortcut. Okay? Let me see if I can. And if you'll notice here, that's what I have. I have these little shortcuts that I need to get into that job real quick. So it's a job that I'm doing right now. So I don't want to have to go all the way in. And just by clicking on this little thing, automatically sends me into Eclipse. I don't have to click into Eclipse, do Alt D, find it every time, or go into Eclipse, press 1, remember, because it's the last job that you did. If it's the last job that you did, it's going to be on the number 1 on your auto magic keys, remember? Okay, so I just create I create a little speedway, okay? And all I'm doing right here is I'm doing some scoping work for another court report, okay? So that's why I don't do it in the Eclipse. It automatically comes up, so I keep them separate, so I know which files that I do for her, you know, if I'm helping her. Does that make sense? Okay?
How long
So-
do you keep that on your desktop? Do you finish? Do you delete it?
I try to back up about once a week. So I have an external hard drive. Guys, it's important to back up. It really is. Okay? Which is a good question. Or, yeah, good question, because, I mean, I had one. I mean, and I had a job that was due. It was an appeal when I was in the other court. It was like 290 something pages. So it's not something you're gonna do in a day. Okay, so I've been working on this thing, trying to get it done, printed it, proofread it. Was like on page 30 of 280 or 290, and my computer just shuts off. No big deal. Power up, power back up. Instead, like a ding dong, I thought, oh, it was just a cord was loose. Started putting the corrections back in, turned off again, didn't turn back on.
Oh, no.
And guys, it's due the next morning. And it's about 8 o'clock at night, and I'm freaking out. Okay? I call a fellow reporter, and I said, look, what's up? And they said, look, it sounds like your computer just crashed. If you've never had one crash, it's scary, okay? So he's like, look, man, Best Buy's still open. Take it over there to Geek Squad, blah, blah, blah. Take a thumb drive. If not, buy one there. Have them put it on the thumb drive. You have another computer? Yeah, I've got another computer. It already has Eclipse, yeah. Went over there, did it. It took them about an hour to take the computer apart, get the hard drive out, try to read it into this thing. I mean, it looked like a puzzle. It's now you had it connected into something else, or the wire into something else. It was connected into something else. It had a wire that was connected, and then into a computer. So he said, oh, which job is it? It's that one. Oh, okay. Finally found it, copied it, put it on the thumb drive. I mean, it was like 11 o'clock by the time I got home. But it worked. Holy cow. That'll usually happen once, and you start backing up, you know? So all of the stuff that I had, he's like, I said, look, can you back up everything? Yeah. All right, we'll back it up. He goes, okay, come pick this thing up tomorrow about lunch. What? He goes, oh yeah, it'll take that long. When you have that thing connected with a wire that's connected into the connector, that's connected into that computer connector.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't as easy as I thought, clicking and dragging. It wasn't that easy, he said, so whatever. But I figured, you know what, if I need another job, I'll come back and do it. So yeah, I mean, I keep them on there, but I try to back up. So you're gonna buy an external hard drive. Y'all know what that is? These things are about this big. It's about this big. You know, whatever. It's kind of maybe a little bit skinnier or whatever, but it's about that big. And it holds ungodly amounts of stuff. And I back up my dictionary, And I back up the jobs. I think that's really all I back up. The WAV files, I'm not as, you know, whatever. But I mean, if I've already done a job, I don't want to lose that job. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so once you get close to getting out, that's going to be one of the first things that you buy too, is an external hard drive. If you don't have one already, you might want to buy one now. But anyway. All right. Any questions about that section on hyperkeys? Guys, we covered a lot of stuff in that one lesson, a lot, okay? And it's very useful, okay? So use it, that's the whole point, okay? And really, and I'm glad that we did the hyperkeys on the Monday, because I really want you to use it till we come back Monday. So I want you to use this stuff tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday. Hey, you know what, sir? What does W do again? Prefixes, suffixes. Oh, yeah. I was having trouble with that, and I tried to change one of the prefixes, suffixes, and it didn't work, and something happened, you know, whatever. So we can come back and fix it if you need to. Don't mess with it that much where it's going to mess something up, remember? Don't go into those user settings unless you really need to and start messing with that stuff, okay? But I really want y'all to use those hyperkeys, okay? You got the chart that I gave you. Use that chart, okay? And go into the wiki, practice on something, and then use the practice. And it doesn't have to make sense, guys. It doesn't have to make sense of what you're doing. Just mess with it. So if you wrote a number and the number came in, get on that number, your auto magic thing should come up. Have y'all seen it already? Like when you're in real time? Have you done real time yet? Okay. Your auto magic thing hasn't come up?
I don't think so.
Really? This little information bar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and it should. So when you're in a job, it should already be open because we already clicked it open, remember? We clicked that auto magic in the user settings. So it should be on if you were awake. Maybe you weren't, maybe you were eating Doritos, I have no idea. But if you were paying attention, everybody should be on, okay? So use that and just move around. You know, and it's, you know, like you're editing and you're listening to something, you're going right, which is what?
L.
L. Okay? Up, down, and really, you know, and maybe make some little flashcards. Or on a piece of paper, just write right, left, up, down, right, left. And just have your kid, husband, boyfriend, friend, parent, I don't care what it is, just read this off to you. And you're just sitting there with that one hand. And it doesn't have to, not fast, you know, and they just say right, up, down. And that's all you're doing. That's how you're going to get familiar with these movements. That's the most important thing in this software is those movements. Okay, is moving around and being able to get where you want to get before you can do other functions. If you can't even get there, then you can't even do the function. Okay, so the whole point is being able to move around without using the arrows. Don't use those arrows anymore. All right, if I see you using the arrows, you're probably going to get whacked. All right, so no. But the whole point is to use this thing so that you become familiar with it. And the more you start using it, the more it starts remembering what you're doing. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully. All right. So go into help. Lesson. Movements. Go ahead and get in there. I'm gonna reinstall mine. I don't know if I. How do you enlarge it?
F7. Control F7.
Shift, control,
Shift,
F7.
control.
Shift, Control F7. I was pretty sure that's what you said.
Control F7.
Mm,
Yeah.
Jesus, we're gonna get this sooner or later. All right, and that's just what we talked about is the movements. Up, up,
I,
right,
L,
down,
K,
J.
J.
J for left, okay? So when it tells you right there, and if you need to print it, you can. You can print these things. So if you have a printer at home, and it's like, man, I can't get it. Then have your son, daughter, father, I don't care, write it down. And just little flashcards. Okay, what's up? I. What's right? Left. What's right? L. What's left? So like that, and just, you know, you're saying them in your head, and then you're doing it right here. So you're thinking about it, and you're doing it. It doesn't even have to be on your machine, just doing it. So if you're having trouble getting it, this is what you need to do. If you've already got it, you think you have it, then make little, just write something down. Right, left, up, down, right, left, up, down, you know, to where you have to think. It's not in sequence of everything that you do, so you're just doing the motions and you're not having to think about it because you've written it down. Right, left, up, down, right, left, up, down. Really? Make your brain work a little bit on this to where you have to think about what it is. Okay? So that's the movements. We also kind of went over, this is stuff that we've kind of gone over too, and y'all know that hyperkeys are case sensitive, okay? So the lowercase letter is going to be the thing that you're going to do, the function that you're going to do the most, okay? The shift, which is the capital of that letter, is the one that you're not going to do as much. It doesn't make it not important, it's just a function that you're not going to do as much. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's another thing. Why do you want to do it? I don't know. I mean, but you can. So on your movements, which are I, JKL, okay? So when you make them case sensitive of the capital, it's going to move it left by a character. One character. Now, does that make sense? Okay, so if you need to just move over one character, that's how you do it. Moves it right a character with the L. The I is up a sentence, just up one line, which I think it does it anyway, you know? And then moves it down a sentence or down a line. It's the same thing. You know, I'm not quite sure what they're getting there or whatever, so let me get right here and do the shift. Oh, I see what it's doing. So it's going to move it down a sentence. It doesn't move it down a line. Did you see what it just did?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you come here and you do K, see what it does? It moves it down.
And hyperkeys?
Huh?
It's in hyperkeys, right?
Yeah. K.
Okay.
K moves down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I moves up. You see where the cursor is right here? Okay, now I did Shift K, and see what it did? It took it to the next sentence. Not to the next line, to the next sentence,
Shift K.
which would be down. Or you do Shift I and see what it did? So now it took it to the beginning of the previous sentence. So up, back, down, next. Does that make sense? It should. Okay? Unless you're in Doritoville, then I don't know. So that's actually a pretty neat function. So if you want to move over a sentence, that's how you do it. Okay? Shift K.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. You're gonna test my nerves. Guys, this next little function is really important. So your pen should be out. Alt S. Get on a word. Get on Eclipse.
S.
So you should be right here on Eclipse. Got it? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
I lost my spot.
Shift, do Shift, K. Got it?
Yeah.
Now do Alt S. Did it bring this up?
No.
Huh?
Not it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, now it is.
Oh, no,
This is how you
what is there, an echo in here?
Yeah. No, it did. No, it did. No, it did. No, it did. Really? So let's say you're going through and editing or whatever, and it's like Eclipse. I've never heard of that before. Was that spelled correctly? You get on the word, Alt S, and it tells you whether it's correct or not. And it'll even tell you what the definition is. So you can do any of these things. So it's like, well, it's not supposed to be Eclipse. It's supposed to be eclipsed. So now you just push 3. See what it did? Changed it. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Z, Z, puts it back. What's Z?
Oops.
Oops. Okay. Guys, write that down. Alt S. Excellent. Excellent. Okay? And it doesn't have it up here for some unknown reason, and I don't know why.
But you can put it up there, right?
What's that?
You can put it up there though, right? Or no?
So if you want to go through and check the whole document, you should have an icon up here that has a spell check. So let's say you're on page 99 and you want to get to page 1. How do you do it? Go to
Oh, G.
Alt G. Go to Alt G. Brings up that go to. Press 1, enter, takes you to the top of the page. Now you want to check the whole document, which you should every time. Okay? And Shift Alt S is check spelling. Or if you have the icon up here, which mine does, which is the spell check, you can. Okay? So let's just say, we'll get out of here. So I want to go to the top of the page. What do I do?
G. Oh, G. Oh.
Well, got me. Today's your first
It's
month.
shift.
1, boom. See what it did? So now it's going through there and it's going to check everything. So things that it doesn't understand, now it's going to stop on it. What's LFT? That's what it's asking. I'm not asking you. It's asking now, what's LFT?
Lift.
Two.
Huh?
Lift.
Left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
L-E,
Where is it?
lift.
No, I didn't.
What'd you say? Huh?
Left.
Lift? Left? It's
on.
left. Left. L-E-F-T. Okay? And it's control or control left. It's what it's doing. But it's checking it because it doesn't recognize it. Okay? So now it's telling you, do you want to ignore it every time it comes up? Yeah. Or do you just want to ignore it that one time? You know what, I just want to ignore it that one time because I think that's the only time I've used it. So if you do ignore all, be careful guys. If you do ignore all, the next time it comes up,
It's not gonna do it.
it doesn't recognize it anymore. Okay? So be careful with that. You can delete it. You can add it to your dictionary as, you know what, this is the correct spelling of Krzyzewski. Okay? It's going to come up. I guarantee it. Krzyzewski's going to come up if you do spell check. You in the back.
So Alt S is spelling alternatives and Shift Alt S is spell check.
It's spell check.
Okay, so
What did I say?
you said spell check.
Huh?
You said Alt S is spell check. So you're spelling
It
alternatives.
is. It's
Shift
spell check one word. Spell check one word.
Okay.
Shift Alt S is
The whole
check the
thing.
whole document.
Oh, okay.
So it is spell check.
I'm just gonna put- I'm just
What?
gonna put- I'm
What?
gonna put spelling
What?
alternatives on there.
Well, the other one is spelling alternatives too. Look, I'm going to show you that. So look what you're getting ready to do. Is you put it right here on moves. I do Alt S.
Right, Alt S, not Shift Alt S.
I was just in Shift Alt S, and it was spelling alternatives too.
So you can just use either or.
No.
Well, no.
Guys,
No.
listen.
No.
Shift Alt S is spell check a document. Alt S,
It's just one
One
word.
word.
Okay.
okay? Shift Alt S is what?
This,
The
The
whole
whole
The
document.
whole document.
Yeah.
Or from wherever you are down.
Okay.
So you don't have to go to page 1. You can check it from there on down.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And Alt S is
Spell, check for one word.
one word.
Thank you for that clarification.
That'd be so difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alto is what?
Print.
Print. Output. Print. I don't know why they didn't do O. I mean P, but it's not. So it's Alto. Output. So output or outsource or whatever. Okay? Control L is what?
Locate.
Hey, we're gonna read along? Okay, since you were the first one to read it, what does it do?
It locates the next occurrence of the search text.
Which is what?
The previous, it says it locates the previous occurrence. Control.
I don't need you to read.
Control.
I need you to explain to me what it does. I explained it the other day.
Oh, you locate the next.
Hey.
I guess the one, it's the previous, so I guess it locates the one before. No?
Of what?
That's the same word where it
Hey.
appears.
All right, remember it's the find, which is what?
Yeah.
F. So you go in there and you want to find Krzyzewski. You found Krzyzewski. Well, it's in there 16 times. I want to find it every time. So instead of doing F find every time, you do what?
Control L.
Control L. And it'll take it to you every time. Every time. That's what it's talking about, the next occurrence on the search text. Okay? So you don't have to find it every time. Type in Krzyzewski every time, hit enter, and then find again, type Krzyzewski. All you do is just Control L. All right? Control X is what? Go ahead and read it.
Somebody else read it.
Yeah.
Cut selection. Put in the clipboard.
Which was what? Y'all remember?
Like copy and paste? should put it in the clipboard, right? So it's like,
Well,
It is.
what it does is it marks.
Oh,
X
Oh, marks
It
your
marks
spot.
marks the spot.
Yeah.
Remember?
Got it.
Brilliantly simple, simply brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. So remember from Sesame Street, X marks the spot? That's what it does. X marks that spot. How do you get back?
Alt V. Wait, was it Alt V? Control?
Control V.
Yeah.
Control V. Okay? Gets you back. So Control X marks it. You can go down to wherever. Control V will bring you back and put you there. Okay? And then F10 is just a menu bar. All right?
now what would be a reason why we would use Control X?
Like if you want to mark that spot, you're, at the end. Sometimes, if it's a really long transcript and you're inputting a lot of stuff and you're putting in some block files and you're putting in blah, 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 and you're adding pages to it or whatever, sometimes the counter down here, it says page 2 of 4, but maybe now it's 2 of 9, but it's not keeping track of it for some reason. So it's like now it's like, well, I don't even know how many pages it is. How do you go to page?
Alt G.
Alt G, put 999. If it's 200 pages, put 999. It's going to take you down to the bottom. Oh, you know what? Now it's 9 pages. Okay. Well, you already marked your spot. You didn't want to lose your spot because you were editing. So now you do the Control V, takes you right back to that spot.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it?
Got it.
Mr. Serrani,
Yes.
so, the other day when we talked about these, I think it was Monday. So I wrote down Shift X, and it says it on here, for the hyper keys, marks the spot, right?
Okay.
So on here, on this one about movement, it's saying
Control X.
Control
X.
X. So is it the same thing?
I guess it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're saying it again. So in hyperkeys, you can do the Shift X, which was the capital X. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
The Shift X?
And then
So I guess it does the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because then when you said Shift V, I'm like, it takes you back to.
I told you the other night, Shift V takes you back.
Mm-hmm.
So in hyperkeys, I guess it will.
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
I'm going to show you something, and I don't know why they didn't go over it, but they're asking you to do it here. Guys, pay attention. There's a really easy way to do an apostrophe. Okay? Like apostrophe S or S apostrophe. It's Alt A. Do it. Get on right here. At its, ITS, with no apostrophe, and do Alt A. You see how it did it? It put the apostrophe. Did it do it?
Yes.
Did it?
Did you get it?
Katie? Yeah? Got it? Now do it again. Same word.
Alt A again.
Yeah.
Alt A. Now you see how it changed it
To the outside.
to the outside. Do it again.
Added another S.
Yeah.
Apostrophe S.
But hey,
Well, because sometimes, and I don't even understand it. I mean, English, just when you think there's a set rule, there's not.
No, yeah, for real.
So sometimes, like when you have Harris, well, it's the Harris's dog. And to me, I would think that it would be S apostrophe. Sometimes it's apostrophe
S.
S. Where you keep the Harris and it's still an extra apostrophe S. I don't understand it. I don't, and I'll admit.
Wait, so is it Moose's or Meese?
What? It's Mises.
It's Mises.
I would think that, you know, whenever
No,
I see
that's like for a
apostrophe
lot
S,
of
it always
mice.
makes me think it's supposed to be, it is, with the apostrophe S. So, when it, like you say, Harris's, I would think that would be S apostrophe too, because that should show possessive, right?
But sometimes there's already an S on there and they still put an extra apostrophe S on there. Even with the S, where you keep the S there, where it's apostrophe S. I don't understand when you do, when you don't, and
Me either.
you know, I'm showing my ignorance now.
I wonder if
You
they
know.
would mark that off on our state test if we was to do that, if we was to put.
You know what, when you take that English for the shorthand reporter, ask that
I mean, I
teacher,
took that English already.
I'm in it.
what did you learn?
I mean, I learned that it was Harris's with the apostrophe on the outside with no S.
But sometimes
That's what I'm saying, exactly,
it's not.
exactly, so.
I don't know. I don't know when it is, when it's not. And that's what I'm telling you, is that's how you do it. You just keep pushing all day until you get the one that you want. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but.
So it'll take it back. The more you keep doing all day, it'll keep taking it back. Okay?
Right.
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to it. Were you asking me the answer? I mean, were you asking me the question?
I mean, I wonder if they would take that off on the state test if we was to do
I
with
think
their
they will.
apostrophe.
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Punctuation? No?
Well, on punctuation, it has to be like literal. And I don't think they're gonna give you something like that, where it's gonna be that hard.
Exactly.
I don't think.
I mean,
And
it's
if
a
it
big
costs you the
difference
test,
between It's, and it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a big
Yeah.
difference between that, so I can understand.
so I don't
that.
think it's gonna be something where they're gonna put it on the state test where it's gonna cost you a test. I don't think so. They're not trying to trick you. They're trying to get you to know the basics of punctuation and stuff like that, not trickery, okay? But there are instances like that. So Alt A, guys, Alt A is good. Good stuff right there. So you can use it wherever, you know, like say it's rush, and it's supposed to be rushes. You see how it changes it? So you don't have to arrow over in to get back in the insert, apostrophe. You don't have to do all that. Now the apostrophe S is Alt A. And then you just keep doing Alt A until you get the one that you want. Okay? Got it? All right. Punctuation is the same. So you're right here. You need a
Period.
no, a question mark. This one is the question mark now. Now it's not the Q. The Q is going to do it forward. Remember? So if I'm right here and I want a period here and I'm in hyperkeys, then I push what? For a period. P. Just P. See how it changed it? But it doesn't change it back, it changes it forward. Okay? But say that I need it back. Say I'm right here and I need to change it. Well, I don't want a backspace, period, space, space, space. All you have to do is just hit period. And it changes it back. Not the P, remember? And it doesn't matter if you're in hyperkeys or whatever. I think it does. Yeah. You have to be in hyperkeys. Okay? In order for this function to work. But all you do is just push the period and it puts the period back. If you push the P, it puts the period forward. Got it?
Got it.
Mine doesn't work.
Oh man.
With the
Sorry.
question mark, I had to do shift.
Which one's the one for prefixes and suffixes? Prefixes and
It
suffixes.
just added a period.
On the letter. It just makes.
Like on here?
Just like, look for the P.
It's just a P. It's right under the, right by the word total. Look at the word
Right
total
above
on the right side.
It's P right there. If you just, I was using it shift.
Okay, it didn't work by 5 seconds.
Katie, Katie, you eating Doritos too?
No, prefixes
It
and
just gave me that
suffixes.
period.
You have to be in a sentence.
Oh, at the beginning
Sit
and
right
the
here.
end.
Okay, it's not working anymore.
And now you do shift question mark, which would be a question mark, and it does it back.
The period. I
Oh,
think, is
shit.
back though.
You already had a period. Can't do another period.
Oh, I
Well,
get
you
it
can
now.
do two periods.
Okay.
So if you're drunk when you come to class,
Haha, that's too funny.
guys, and you know, and this student was doing this function, and I'm not gonna mention any names, but her initials are Katie. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But she was like, hey, you know, the period doesn't work. Well, look, if there's already a period there, and you do period again, it's gonna take it away, okay? But if you do it again, now it puts a period. But I'm glad you did that because I didn't even know that it did that. I really didn't. So it's actually kind of good. So, I mean, I didn't know that it took it away. So, but all you really have to do is backspace right here, and now it kind of takes it back. So see where it was? Where it's period, space, space, cap? All you have to do is backspace right there, and now it makes it part of the sentence. Or, like Miss Katie just found out, you just push period again, and it takes it away, puts it in there, you're good to go. I didn't even know that did that.
It didn't
So
work.
Katie's teaching the class, so we're good to go. Huh?
It didn't work.
What? What?
What you just did, it didn't work.
On yours?
No.
If I come over there and that,
I mean, I did the whole backspace thing, and then, oh, maybe I should put a question mark right there. But it's not letting me put a period right there.
what? It just did.
But I didn't press period, I was pressing P.
P is forward.
Oh.
P is period forward. Period, the period sign is back, okay? I said that 51 times, I guess it's 52 that it sinks. The period sign, which is the period, is back. So if you need it back, P in hyperkeys is the period forward, okay? So there's you need a question mark right there, what would I do?
Question mark.
Q. Q puts it. But let's just say I need a question mark right here. What would I do?
Oh, then you do question mark.
Then you do question mark, which is shift question mark, and now it puts it. Okay? So it's going to do it back on the question mark. It's going to do it forward on the Q. Got it? That's why, you know, and I know that, you know, things come up, you know, and stuff like that. But if you're at home, yeah. So that's why it's good to be here. We go through things, whatever the pros and cons, it's better here, okay? But I understand, you know, sometimes things come up, you can't. That's why I've always told you, even the guys that are watching online, that are out of town, if you have problems with this thing, call me, text me, email me, whatever. Hey, look, it doesn't do the period behind it because I'm pushing P. Yeah. But it's through trial and error, and I'm glad, because now you probably won't forget. Hopefully you won't forget it now. But through trial and error, that's how you're going to learn. It's through trial and error, and once you make that mistake, or once it doesn't work, and now, oh, that's what it does, you're less likely to forget the next time. You see what I'm saying? Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was a pretty easy lesson. Not too bad. Mostly on movements, other stuff, printing, apostrophes, S's, possessive, Alt S versus Shift Alt S is what?
Shift also, it's just the whole thing.
Spell check with that.
Shift Alt S is what?
Spell check.
Check the
The
whole
whole
thing.
document.
Spell check the document. Alt S is what?
The word.
Just the word.
Spell check the word. Very good. Guys, these are really good functions right here. Okay, really good. So when you're editing stuff, use it. Use it. Okay? Any questions about the stuff that we just covered?
No.
You know what, I think we're gonna stop right here. We did one lesson, we finished up the other lesson, we did one lesson. We covered a lot of stuff. Guys, the thing that I want to emphasize the most is those hyper keys and using those hyper keys the next few days. I don't care what you have to do, whether it's get with your husband, boyfriend, father, whatever, and figure something out, okay, on using these hyper keys. Changing stuff around, movements, all of that stuff, okay? You already laminated yours?
What, do you work at school? We're on it.
So if you look at it, the teacher's pet over here
Oh, Lord.
already got hers
Well, actually,
laminated.
it was Debbie.
Was it? You can't even escape that. Which is good, guys. I'm telling you, get that thing laminated because you're going to use it a lot until you really get to know the functions. Okay?
Are we gonna have a test on these?
Hey.
Don't give them no idea.
Yeah, now we are. Thank you. No. Any questions about the stuff that we've covered? No? Okay. We'll see you guys on Monday. Stop it.